I started screaming, "We are live," and pushed the button at the same time.
Awesome, awesome. Well, that like summoned the live powers, and now we are live.
Perfect, perfect. How are you, Will?
I'm doing all right. I'm doing all right. I've been just moving around in the apartment here. I've been just waking up from being asleep, not getting enough sleep, going to tech events, doing all kinds of stuff like that. How about
I
you,
saw you
Kurt?
at GitHub yesterday.
Yeah, yeah, that was a fun one. We got to hear about like some people at Meta and people at Google. I don't want to say Facebook, but people at Meta and Google were giving presentations, like developers, about some of the technology they're working on, some of the AI stuff that they're working on, and some of the cool cutting edge announcements that are coming that are already in their beta programs. But
That's
we'll be,
awesome.
yeah, it's some cool stuff.
Well, I'm gonna do the intro here so we can let the people watching live know what we're doing here. My name is Kurt. I'm here with Magic Will Middleton, who is awesome, and we'll be here for the next hour or so, talking about all kinds of things Lifter LMS. Now, what we would like to have from you folks that are watching is jump on into the comments, let us know who you are, where you're from, and if you have any questions about Lifter LMS, we're here to help answer those and give you some confidence in using the product. The other thing is, if you're in Facebook and you go to put in a comment at the top of the post, I think it says, give StreamYard the authorization or whatever. If you would do that, we actually see your name when you post instead of coming up anonymously. And that way it's cool because sometimes we recognize the names from the Facebook page and we get to interact with you a little bit.
Absolutely. But yeah, we talked about how I'm doing. How are you doing, Kurt?
I'm not going to lie, man. I scheduled a 4-day weekend to go camping with my son. He's got his first mountain bike race coming up this weekend at Lake Wilson. So I looked at my camper van and thought, look at all those projects I didn't finish. So, so I started working on the camper van a little bit, doing a ton of work. I've got a couple of big projects that I'm releasing. I got a site that I'm finishing up this week. Dude, I'm not going to lie. It's just everything all at once. And it's cool to be busy, but it's also one of those things where, you want to make sure you make your customers and clients happy too. So, yeah, it's just been a little bit of a struggle, but we'll get there. I'll be tired come Monday or Tuesday.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, looks like we do have comment already in chat, but yeah, anyone who's calling in, let us know where you're calling in from. Let us know if you have any questions about Lifter, and we'll just start diving into it.
Yeah, big welcome for Bob here. Bob Boyce from Illinois. Bob is fairly new with Lifter LMS. I've been seeing him in some of our support chats. So Bob, welcome to the call, man. It's good to have you. If you have any questions, don't hesitate, man. Drop them right on in for us.
Absolutely. Let me see. I'm going to jump over to the YouTube comments and see if we do have any questions from the last week in YouTube and in Facebook.
Cool.
For some reason, my PDF is not displaying like yours. It only shows the option to download it. I'll throw that in chat and kind of demo the Lifter LMS PDFs a little bit. I'm not sure exactly what's going on here in this situation, but this is a comment from YouTube. I'll pop this up on screen real quick. Boom. So for some reason, mine PDF is not displaying like yours. It only shows the download button. So Lifter LMS has an add-on called PDFs. By default, the Lifter LMS certificates are saved as HTML files, which can be confusing for some people to use, but you can also share the URLs to certificates if sharing is enabled, and that's another way to share it. People could print the page. There's a few different ways with Lifter LMS out of the box that you could get a PDF version of your certificate, but there is an add-on from Lifter LMS called Lifter PDFs, which turns your certificate downloads automatically into PDFs. It turns your orders page into a place where people can get an invoice or something they could use for their taxes if they need to report where they've spent money, if it's a business expense for them or something like that. Lifter LMS PDFs allows customers to download their orders from the back end, and the PDFs has one more functionality, and that is there's a report card option. Let me share my screen and share a window, my Academy. So on that dashboard page, if we have our PDFs enabled, we go to orders. order history. We'll have the option to view the order, and we can get that download button, which is going to throw a PDF on my computer. Same thing with my grades. I know it's going crazy right now. Let's get grade. So we jump into any of my courses, and we can basically download what's a report card. Download, and this is going to be a report card of my course, where it's like a PDF that shows my assignments, my grades, my completion dates, and all that kind of stuff. But then PDFs also has an option on certificates. When I go to engagements certificates, I'll have an option to view any of these, and I can download, or when I click save, it's going to save as a PDF by default. If you're having issues with how the PDF is displayed, it might be related to your browser and how your browser is trying to print things. It might be related to some formatting on your website. If you have a theme that's trying to put some custom headers or footers or something on certificate post types, we might want to say, hey, theme, exclude the certificates as a post type you load the header and footer from. It could be a range of issues as to why the certificate is formatted a bit strange, but usually it should look like this out of the box, where we don't have a header and footer on our page, and then when we click save, there's nothing there either. But that's my main top of mind reasons for why a certificate might be formatted a little bit awkwardly. What do you think, Kurt?
Yeah, and sometimes I hear people confused as to how the certificates work and with PDFs. So sometimes when I see that question, I wonder if they're trying to like share a certificate or download a certificate or whatever. Like usually when I say download or when I say print, sometimes I'll say print a certificate and it comes up with the option to save as a PDF or print. And then there's the download option, and then there's also the share option. So it's just, different ways to say different things. But the cool part is that for the most part, based on the device you're using or how your software is set up, you typically get access to download and print your PDFs.
Awesome. Well, we did have a couple of other questions come in. Donna came into the chat with a question. How hard is it to transition an existing website to the SkyPilot theme? I know Kurt's excited for that question to come in. I think it depends on what theme you're coming from. So in a few years, when all the themes are going to be like full site editing, so SkyPilot's a theme I could share my screen too. Why talk about it when I could show it? So this website I'm on right here is built on the SkyPilot theme. And so it's a full site editing theme. And what that means is that instead of the customizer, you have this edit site button up here at the top. And we have this new user interface, one that we're not really used to interacting with in WordPress, where we can edit templates, we can edit headers, footers, menus. Like this is the place where we edit all of our stuff. And it's still cutting edge, it's still in development, it's still having new features released all the time, but full site editing is the technology in WordPress out of the box that the LifterLMS SkyPilot theme is built on, and it's sort of the future of how themes are supposed to work, because themes going forward, like when you switch from a theme to theme, usually it messes everything up. Like you have to reformat everything from scratch. And so the idea here is that if you were to build your headers and footers in the block editor, you wouldn't actually have to change that much when you switch your theme. It would just control colors and some basic stylings, maybe have a couple of custom style sheets included with it, maybe some pattern libraries, but everything would be built in blocks. So it's going to be easy to change going forward. But the thing is, if you are changing from Astra or Cadence or something that's not a full site editing theme into a full site editing theme, you are going to have to rebuild your headers and footers with the block editor for the first time. Now, theoretically, more full site editing themes are going to be coming out in the next 5 years. So then when you make your next transition, you're not going to have to rebuild all this stuff. But going from not full site editing into full site editing, you are going to have to rebuild. And there are some considerations with like full site editing and compatibility with Elementor. Like you can edit the content area of your page with Elementor, no problem. But if you are trying to edit headers and footers in Elementor, I've had some struggles with that with full site editing, or just some bugs to work around. So if you're using WordPress out of the box, if you're a WordPress purist, like I'm trying to become more like, then you're going to like full site editing and you're going to like SkyPilot, but you are going to have to rebuild that first time that you switch into a full site editing theme. I don't know, Kurt, do you have any thoughts on that?
My thoughts are pretty straightforward. Will. Sometimes people don't like that I'm so direct in my communication, but my secret is just make a staging website. If you've got a really good host and you can say, hey, make me a staging website, wallakazoo, galakabam, there it is. Then you just go into appearance, put in your Sky Pilot, and click activate theme. And then look at the website. Like, what do you have to change? To Will's point, you're probably going to have to change headers and footers and stuff like that. But in so many cases, you'll look at the site and you'll go, oh my gosh, that's exactly what I wanted. And then you're like, okay, let's move forward. To me, it's the learning comes from doing. And we hear that a lot in the WordPress space. It's easier. I hate to say easier, but it seems to be more straightforward to hunt, peck, and play than to try and strategize it in your imagination before you do it.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. Especially when it comes to new technology and new interfaces.
Yeah. And if it's in a staging site, you don't have to worry about breaking it. I mean, if you did break it, you could just call your host and say, hey, turn off that staging site and give me a new one. I want to start over breaking something.
Right. Exactly. So you can always experiment with it. I got to jump across the room real quick and grab my water, but I'll be right back. I don't know, Kurt, you want to cut into one of these other questions?
Yeah, we certainly could. I've got one that comes up periodically, and it's a long question, so it's probably not going to fit all the way on the screen on StreamYard here, but it says, I'm not sure if I did something wrong or if my expectations are just inaccurate. I paid for the Infinity bundle, but after downloading the plugins from the Lifter site, when reviewing, I don't see what I was expecting to see. That'll happen sometimes. Remember back in the old days, you'd buy a new PC, you'd be all excited. You'd go home, you'd take it out of the box, you'd plug it in, you'd turn it on, and your screen would be blank and the computer wouldn't do anything. Will's too young to remember that.
Probably. I don't remember that.
You do remember that?
No, I don't. My first computer was like a MacBook Pro.
Yeah, they didn't do nothing. You had to go back to Office Depot and buy all those boxes of software because software used to come in a big box. Mm-hmm. And then you would take all the CDs or the floppy disks or whatever, and then install the tools that you were going to use on the computer that just cost you $5,000 that doesn't do anything. If you came from the demo site experience with LifterLMS, you came from a fully populated, fully demoed, ready to go website with all of the LifterLMS add-ons available. So if you saw the demo site first, you were like, this is amazing, I'm going to buy this. And then if you buy it and shortcut the installation, you miss out on a lot of the features. And in this situation, this is kind of what happened here. So I just want to go over this with folks, especially folks that are new to LifterLMS. When you install LifterLMS, there's a thing called an installation wizard. And that's common in software. We see that a lot, right? Things will pop up. You can skip it or you can do it. And so when you do the installation, it'll say, we're going to make these pages for you, right? So it's going to say courses, memberships, dashboard, my cart. What Will's showing you right now is how to restart the installation wizard. And so we have directions on LifterLMS. We have a resource for this, so you can rerun the installation wizard if you like. But you can look on the screen share right here, and you'll see that it's giving you the options to add the course catalog, the membership catalog, the checkout page, the student dashboard. And when you look there, it's going to say you could skip the step, you could exit the setup, or you could click Save and Continue. When you click Save and Continue, it's going to automatically make those pages and add them to your pages listing inside your website. The next thing is, do you want to take payments? I always click Enable Offline Payments. Someday, doesn't have to be today, it could be down the road, somebody might say, hey, I want to buy 50 seats to your course. How do we do that? And if you're smart, you're going to say, oh my gosh, don't put that in my Stripe account at 3%. Why don't you just issue me a PO, send me a check, and then I'll give you those seats, right? So if you do that manually, you get to increase your margins because you're not giving up 3% of whatever those 50 seats would cost. So take the manual payments, click Save and Continue, get to the next screen, and that's going to say, do you want to get a coupon to make a purchase, or will you give us access, to kind of see what you do with your site, right? And so it'll say, allowing us to collect non-sensitive usage information and diagnostic data. So you can say no thanks, or you can say accept that. And then right when you go to finish this process, this is one of the killer deals that I think that LifterLMS brings to the table. It doesn't matter if it's a free version, a paid version, or whatever. You can download the sample course and templates. So we have the quick start course, we have the free course lead magnet template, and the course template. These are like best practices for like best digital marketing to launch yourself if you're new to course creation. And so having those samples added to your website gives you kind of a leg up on, it's kind of like adding, if you've done Cadence or Astra as a theme and you download one of their starter websites, it's like that. It's like, hey, I could download this and then I could edit it and put in my content, or I could kind of like duplicate the effort. I could start a new course. And if I don't know, hey, how do I want to format this? What do I want a course sales page to look like? What do I want my lessons to look like? What kind of features do I want to put in my lessons? You get a lot of options and a lot of things to look at by looking through the sample content. Now, the cool part about these sample courses is you can always edit them and remove them from the catalog. So if you want them for like reference resources inside your website, you can leave them in your website that are visible only to admins and not to students or visitors to your website. So you can change the visibility from public to hidden. Ooh, excuse me. I'm going to sneeze. It's going to happen any minute now. There we go. I knew it was coming. My eyes were tearing up. I couldn't even see the screen. So anyway, you can save it. You can let it go on your website if you wanted to. It's visible and let other people take the introductory course. Or you can hide it from your catalog. It doesn't matter to us what you do with the content, but it's kind of a cool leg up to get started on the content. And I know that I just realized I'm talking loudly. That's probably because I get excited about this stuff. But anyway, when you download LifterLMS into your own website, it's important to understand that LifterLMS is a tool for you to put your content up. We don't load your site, unwillingly full of a bunch of sample content and sample pages. And we don't do your homepage, your about us, your services page, or any of that stuff, because we're the tool that allows you to put your content in your website. And we work with just about every theme and we integrate with tons of tools. And so we're super flexible on how you choose to use the tool. But we also give you that sample content for courses and lessons to get you a head start. Was that a good enough chat?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. So if you miss that in your installation, or if you look at your site and you go, this doesn't do what I think it should do, try your installation wizard again. Maybe you skipped it.
Let's see. I want to show something off too. That's kind of a sidetrack. Let me and also I could mention the aircraft product is now available for Universe Bundle as an individual add-on. So Universe Bundle Infinity Bundle users have access to this add-on called Aircraft, which makes it much faster to build pages as well. Show, don't tell. I'm going to show this notes thing in a second because notes just had a big update. But if I go to add a new page on my website or add a new course anywhere you're using the block editor and click the plus button at the top, we'll have patterns as an option. And with this aircraft product installed, it gives you a bunch of out-of-the-box templates you can use here. So like Kurt said, you're in the mindset of building your site fast and replacing the content with your content. This is how you can get like, what is this, the team section. So if you're building out a team page, this is like a nice layout you could use to build out team pages. So you don't actually have to do all this formatting from scratch. It's just like let's add all these to the page. So we've got this hero image. We've got the maybe the leads of the company, and then some of the course instructors. It just makes this a lot faster because now I can just go to my media library and replace this picture with somebody who's really teaching on my website, replace the text, instead of having to go be like, okay, I want to, what is this? I need a group. Oh, it's down here. A group. I need the title, the paragraph. It needs to be formatted a certain way. I need 6 columns. In the column, there's a stack and image pair. This would take like 30 minutes to build. And so now it's like just out of the box, boom, it's built, switch out your content, you're good to go. So that's a nice accelerator. But I wanted to show off the notes thing too. I'm on a demo site that doesn't have a license key on it, so I need to log into my LifterLMS official account and download the new notes extension. But I want to show off the notes extension just got a major upgrade. It came out just a couple of weeks ago, but now it's already got an upgrade to it. So let's check it out on downloads, notes, download the notes extension. Okay, so I'm going to go to my demo site, plugins, not code snippets, plugins. And then I'm going to, I could just replace my notes install, but I'm going to deactivate it and delete it. And note that deactivating this stuff doesn't remove the notes that your students have been taking. It simply, let's see, boom. It simply changes the PHP. So the website no longer has the formatting to support notes as a feature, but we're going to upload the notes plugin again right here. So that PHP code that makes the template work for notes is going to come back, but it doesn't delete stuff from the database. So all of your students' notes they've been taking are in the database, not stored in any kind of plugin files. Let's jump to the front end of the website and see my notes section. So I don't know if I've taken any notes yet on this website. Probably haven't. So if I jump into my course, do I have to like re-enable this or something? Installed and activated notes. Oh, I didn't enable it. Okay. Check to enable this integration. Floating on the top. That sounds good to me. Okay. Reload. Cool. So here's our take notes interface. Oh, very cool. So there's already some pre-formatted text. Like this is, if I zoom in here, this is not text that was there in the first version. So it kind of gives your students the ability to see that they can actually edit this. They can change the style. That's pretty nice because it'll show them what's there by default. And I don't think you can change this. It would be nice if in the settings there was a way you could type what the default text is, like what appears right here. But I don't think there's a way to change this right now. But let's just take a note, save it, view all my notes. Okay, so this interface looks a little bit better. Just reskin this interface to work a little more fluidly with Lifter. And I can always click on that, jump to my financial independence course, and see the notes that I took there. So that's kind of a cool design upgrade. This button looks a bit smoother, some out-of-the-box text, and just the whole styling looks a bit better. What do you think about this notes update, Kurt?
I totally dig it. One of the things that I thought was missing was the ability to change the font or the font weight so that you could have sections in your notes. So like maybe you have, maybe you do H1s for each lesson, right? For each lesson name and stuff like that. So I think it's a wonderful addition.
Yeah. And this is one of those features I see a lot of my customers and clients picking up. So I'm excited to see where this one goes.
Oh, I've already had 3 or 4 people reach out to me and, ask me to update their sites to include the feature. So
I want to see if I can change the color of this too with labs. I wonder, I'm curious because it's got this this orange and blue.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if we install our labs, maybe it changes. So LifterLMS Labs, for anyone who doesn't know, is a free plugin on the WordPress repository with some experimental features for Lifter. And what it does, if I reload, is it gives us a new tab under LifterLMS called Labs. And I'm looking for the branding one, the simple branding. If I enable this, let's see what happens if I change this to some obnoxious colors like a green and a red Christmas theme. Okay. Does that change my button? It does. Okay. See, that's fancy. So now you actually do have control.
That's fancy.
You can control the branding of it. And so Labs changes things like the color of this progress bar. It doesn't change the Mark Complete background, but changes a few things. If I jump to the dashboard, we can see the progress bars now using my custom color. It allows you to get at some of those custom areas of LifterLMS that you would otherwise need to have CSS knowledge in order to fix. Yeah, that's just a highlight about aircraft and notes.
Shazam. I like that. Dude, notes is one of those things that I've wanted it for a long time. I don't know why I wasn't more pushy about it. But like I'm a big notes taker, right? So you know that because I use this stupid tablet thing. Yeah. But being able to take them right in the platform, especially when you're providing learning content to a group, is really, really cool.
100%. But cool. I see you've been throwing some really difficult questions in the chat.
I'm not trying to make things really difficult.
No,
I
you're
skipped
good.
the one on the hello, sir. Do you have math and chemistry formula builder for quizzes? I skipped that one.
That's a good question. That's a pretty simple one. Nick at LifterLMS support made a video about how to support LaTeX and MathJax formats. So just Google LifterLMS LaTeX math, and that's all you need.
Well, here, I'll put that question back up here. All you have to do is Google LaTeX math.
LaTeX, because that formatting, I could pull it up. That formatting is either called LaTeX or MathJax, or how you can support that in LifterLMS and WordPress. MathJax. I don't know where this video is. What did they call it? Advanced formatting math LifterLMS. I might have to dig through the channel to find this video. I'll find it and put it in the chat.
Shazam. All right, I'll go on to the next one.
Cool.
I think it's this one. We're wondering if we can edit the emails that are sent to students when they're enrolled and need to set up their password for a new login.
Let's see. I'm still digging through YouTube. If we can edit the email sent to students when they're enrolled, absolutely.
Yeah, I'm thinking that's over in the LifterLMS settings area, correct?
Yeah, settings, notifications. Yeah.
So I can jump in and take care of this one if you're still looking at the other thing. So if we go to LifterLMS and we go to settings, I'm going to make my screen full size on StreamYard so I can actually see what I'm doing in the screen share, because I'm old and I'm blind. All right, so notifications. And if we take a look at the notifications that we have, there's two different kinds. So there's the basic notification. And if you've already used LifterLMS, you've seen these before. That's like a little dialog box that pops up on your screen that'll say, you know, you've enrolled in a course or you've completed a quiz or something like that. So those are basic notifications. And then there's email notifications. So you'll notice this one says course complete. This one says course track complete. This one says enrollment. So if we click on the email for enrollment, we see that we have an email that populates here that gives us a basically a couple of little embeds here, right? And so if you wanted to customize that email, let me get back over there. Let me dismiss these notifications that are trying to cover up what I'm doing. Oh my goodness. So if you wanted to customize that email, you could put whatever you wanted in here. Okay. And then you would be able to send that to yourself and additional recipients. So this works out good if you have like guest instructors and stuff like that, and you want to include your instructors into that area, you could add those recipients there as well. And then of course, save your changes and your email's been updated. Shazam.
Awesome. Visibility unlisted, apply. Trying to see. I'm not finding those math videos. Like I remember, I don't know where they went. They were on YouTube. I don't know. Yeah, hit up LifterLMS support and ask. I don't know why those were removed. I remember those went to YouTube. But cool. We can move on to the next question.
This one's more like business strategy to me, I think. I get this asked multiple different ways in support and Facebook questions. And like when I'm hosting I do WordPress meetups here in town, and I'll get a question similar to this if we're doing something like that. But like this one says, I want to create an automatic webinar, which I promote on social media and email, right? So you've got some webinar that you're kicking out, whether it's paid ads that get your audience or it's in your LinkedIn feed or whatever. You're putting a webinar out, and in the webinar, you want to promote your online course. That's fine. That could be a call to action. That can be a button. That can be an enrollment. It could be any of that, right? And it says after the client buys the online course, they receive the login data and they can start learning directly. It's almost like these last two questions are related, right? Because it's going to deal with course enrollment. But I think the thing where people get lost, and I wanted to do a quick screen share on this, is I'll pull up my sample site again. I'll go into courses, and let's say that I want to have a course that, let me get into one that I think has I have it on another screen that's smaller, and I tell you, I think I'm gonna have to start wearing glasses when I do these. Will, let me make this full size again so I can see where the heck I'm going. There we go. So if we go down to the bottom of my edit screen, we're going to hopefully see, yeah, we do. So we have a couple of different access plans available. So we have the a la carte course and we have the course with membership. So in this example, we were having people sign up for a membership, and that membership gave them access to the course. Okay, but we have an a la carte course, and see right here, when I put my mouse over the title, I get a purchase link that comes up. If I were to copy that purchase link and I were to save that link, what do I have here? Copy link address. I could take that link and put it on any call to action button on any website, on any social media platform, anywhere. And if we were to go to that link, Shazam, it'll take us right to the purchase page. Of course, I already have access to the course, but this would be the purchase page where they would enroll directly into that product. And so a lot of people ask, well, how do I go from a live webinar or a lead magnet or fill in a form and get access to? You do it just like that. You give people that access. And just think, if this was something where you were giving away the course, if you went into that same access plan, you could say no payment required. And then you just give people free access to it by sharing that purchase link with them. So they would still enroll. They would put in their name and their email address, and you'd still aggregate a users list, but you'd be giving them access to your course through that lead magnet, through that automated webinar, or however that is that you engineer the way that you drive traffic to your content.
Awesome.
I got to go over here now. There we go. I'm going to have to get bigger screens. That's all there is to it. I need bigger screens.
I got a bigger monitor from this free cart down the hallway in my apartment, but the quality is kind of low. Like, it's like a bigger screen, but the I don't know, it's not DPI. It's not like DPI DOS bridge. It's not like that's like screen printing stuff. Whatever. The pixels per
the resolution.
The resolution is not that great. That's probably why it was on the free cart. But anyone who's joining us live, we've had a bunch more people hop in. Will and Kurt from LifterLMS, we're here to answer any questions that you have about LifterLMS or WordPress. We've got about 25 minutes left. We're going to keep going through social media if no one has any questions in the chat. But if anyone listening in on any of the platforms has a question or wants to let us know where you're calling in from, just drop it in the chat and we'll dive in and hopefully we can answer any questions for you. Let's see. And with that, I thought I saw a new question come in. So I think that's it for the YouTube comments. Or actually, no, it's not. There is a good question here.
There is a good question here.
There is a good question. There's always a good question. I didn't read this question, but it's really long, so we'll just put it in the chat. It's a multi-parter. I want to set up an internal training site, but I also want the videos to have no skip forward feature. Would I need to purchase the standalone private site and advanced videos? Or is there a better bundle to access both of the features? Also, if I build internal LMS with a private site, can I also have external sites selling single courses? That's a good question. There's a lot packed into that question. So for the no skip forward feature, that's a feature of LifterLMS Advanced Videos. And if I don't have my Slack pulled up, I slacked Nick asking about those videos. I'm like, hey, I remember you made videos. Where are they? So I don't think he's online, but I'll get that answer later.
Where's your stuff?
Where is it? While I was leading customer success, I remember that was a project. So if I go to integrations, Advanced Videos works with 3 different video solutions: Vimeo, Wistia, and YouTube. There's currently not any other supported. You can embed any video you want inside of WordPress, any video you want inside of Lifter. But for Advanced Videos to work, you have to use one of these 3 platforms. And what Advanced Videos does, I'm using Wistia. Why am I using Wistia? I thought we migrated off of that. Let's see. So if I go to courses and view a course, let's see what my videos are actually in. This is a Vimeo video.
Okay. What in Hades is going on around here?
So I'm going to switch this. So you can see we have full control over the player right now. I can click forward. I can click back. I can click mark complete, and I don't need to complete the lesson. So what I can do is with Vimeo, the Advanced Videos extension for Vimeo, I'm going to enable it and click Save Changes. And now I'll have some additional options. I can hide player controls on a global level. So I can say, you're not supposed to have player controls anymore. You can see the player controls are gone. So I can no longer skip forward to the end. I can no longer mess with that stuff. Let's see what happens if I could disable playback speed. I could change the player color. If I don't like that blue, I could change it to something else. Disable title, disable byline. There's some other things you could do here, but the main thing is that disable control option. And there is also an option on lessons and courses where you can require that the video is watched before the mark complete button is able to be clicked into. So let me see if I can locate that setting or if I'll just be lost. It used to be back here, playback speed, video title, video byline. Is that not under integrations videos? Oh, okay. It's under courses. So with advanced videos on your website, if you go to the LifterLMS settings courses tab, we have video progression settings. This is what I was thinking of, where we can say require video completion to say when you must complete the video before you can click on this the mark complete button. So let me enter the video again, or the course. We can see this mark complete button that we use to complete the lesson. It's just I'm clicking on it. It's not doing anything because I actually have to let this video play in order for me to have access to that button. So if we give it like a minute, the button will light up. I can click mark complete and move to the next lesson. This is something that people will use for continuing education. And it sounds like in this example, someone wants to use it for internal training because it requires people to actually watch the full content. Now, there's nothing to stop them from playing it, walking away from their computer. But the thing that would stop them from doing that is if you're using short form videos. I think a lot of our customers like to record videos that are 30 minutes or an hour for internal training, put it on the website, and then hope people watch the full thing. But when you have a video that's like 30 minutes or an hour, it's easy for me to click play, go do the dishes and come back, and then the video's played through. So if you break your videos down into this 1 minute, 2 minute, 3 minute, 5 minute format, it makes it a lot more of an attention grabber where like people need to sit in front of their computer and be attentive. And you can also add quizzes in LifterLMS to your internal training example. I'd probably recommend having a 1-question quiz or a 3-question quiz on, every other lesson or something like that. So not only is it pretty short form content where it's like, it's not going to be convenient for me to click play, walk away for 3 minutes and come back. Like that's not going to be convenient. I'm at the point where I just need to sit and watch this in order to get through it the fastest. I need to go through the quiz really fast and then I'll just keep moving on. So those are some unsolicited advice examples from internal training, but that's advanced videos at a high level for anyone who doesn't know what that is. But this question talks about, I want no skip forward feature and I want a private site. So LifterLMS also has an add-on called private site, which is really only ever used for internal training examples. So if I go to integrations, I think it's private site on here. Here we go, private site. What this add-on does, and I would never recommend using this unless you want your entire website to be restricted for only with this turned on, an admin has to enroll people in the website. There's no way for customers to get in. So this is only an example you'd use in internal training where like HR or an admin is creating students. So we can, we have a few settings to disable search engine visibility for our website, disable, we don't need our REST API, RSS feed, and search engine visibility. This is only for internal training. So we have our private site login page, and this just puts a login page on any page on the website. You have to log in, you have to be enrolled to be able to access the content on the website. So I think private site and advanced videos would be great for an internal training example. The cheapest way to get both of those would be as individual add-ons. I was trying to pull that off the screen. Okay. As individual add-ons. So actually, I don't know. I have to check that because the LifterLMS pricing jumps around. Let's see. Pricing. They're both included in the Infinity Bundle. It's basically, I'll pull it over here, pull it into my shared screen and share my screen again. Boom. So both of those products that I demoed, advanced videos and private site, are included in the Infinity Bundle, or they could be purchased individually. I think the price just moved up to $300 per advanced add-on. So that'd be $600 per year for those two add-ons individually, which is this Infinity Bundle pricing. It says $749.50 is that's for the first year, and then it goes up to that price for the second year. So it's going to be cheaper to get them as individual add-ons if those are the only two you need. But they are included in the Infinity bundle. But the question did ask about the economics of that. If I build private site, can I have external site for selling courses? Absolutely. But you would need, like, I'm not sure if the question here is that they're connected, if like the sales site and the private site are connected. If they're totally disconnected, like your private site's for internal training, you have a second website that's for front of sale. Or like you need like a Stripe add-on or something like that to collect payments for your selling single courses. They would just be separate WordPress installs. But that's the nice thing about that LifterLMS licensing system that I removed from the screen, is that these different bundles, not only do they have different add-ons within them, but this first line about active sites, with the Infinity bundle, you get unlimited sites with all of the add-ons. So it's just like everything on an unlimited website. It's very popular for agencies, but I think the individual add-ons only are one license per site. So if you were trying to use advanced videos and private site on two different websites, the economics would work out to probably where, well, I mean, that would be $1,200 a year. So it's still a good deal to go for those individually. But if you're building a bunch of websites for clients, building a bunch of websites to experiment, you could, maybe you'd pick up like an Earth bundle, advanced videos and private site. So you have advanced videos, private site, you have your Earth bundle for your front of sale website. Bunch of different ways you can cut it. A lot of add-ons, a lot of functionality. I talked for a long time there. What do you think about that, Kurt?
I say just go for the Infinity bundle and start building these sites for other people and make some money.
Yeah.
Because with Infinity, you can have as many sites as you want, right? The thing that I always find interesting is people will talk about like an intranet super secure website and then ask about, well, how do I get traffic to go to that intranet super secure website? That use case isn't really the way it's built. So sometimes I sound like I'm raining on people's parades. That's not my intention. That's really not my intention. Remember that with the membership controls of LifterLMS, you can take any page, any post, any course, and you can lock it behind membership controls and things like that. And so you could have half your website locked away behind membership control where it says you have to be a member to access this page. And then you could still have all of your sales stuff and your front end stuff and all that going as a full site. When people talk to me about like locking down a complete website, but then trying to drive traffic to it, I have a mental disconnect. I have a really hard time coming to terms with that use case. That makes me sound like a jerk. I don't mean to sound like a jerk. The totally locked down intranet kind of style website is for like corporations. Like if I was Pepsi and I wanted people that drove forklifts in my warehouse to take specific training that was job related, you would be assigned that course through the HR department and you would get an email that says sign in and take this course by April 15th or you're going to lose your job. That's like the way I see that.
Absolutely. A lot of options with Lifter. You could do it for your own author website, your own expert website, creative website, education, internal training, continuing education. So many unlimited use cases, and me and Kurt have probably worked with every single one. Kurt had a client that was like, I want to build a jukebox in LifterLMS. You remember that?
I do remember that. That was a while ago.
There's a lot you can do with this thing. And speaking of a lot you can do with it, you put a question here in chat that goes even further than a lot. Almost anything with the platform, with the API.
Yeah, and I'll grab the link to the resource for the REST API with LifterLMS. But I think so many people keep, having a website before used to be like, I'm going to start a blog. And that was like, oh, you got your own website? Yeah, I got a blog. It's awesome, bro. And that used to be like the total vibe just a few years ago. And now people are like, I got to put in an interactive calendar. I got to connect to this sales tool. I would need to have single sign-on with my HR department on Dynamic 365. I got it. There's all of these things that people come to the table with saying it's a requirement. And one thing to know about LifterLMS right out of the chute is it's got a resource for the API. So I'll put that right into the chat. And for people that are not horribly knowledgeable about what an API is it's basically a digital handshake. It allows different platforms to talk to one another and share data. It's basically the way to say that. Um, so if you're going to use something that's more common, say you're going to connect to HubSpot. Like a lot of people say, well, how do I connect to HubSpot? Well, for one, HubSpot has a plugin, so a WordPress compatible plugin. So in a lot of cases, what you're doing with your website, maybe your use case is just putting that HubSpot plugin in the back of your WordPress site, and you can use it just the way that you thought you would. Like people say, I want to subscribe to my mail list, or I want to do something and that happens directly that way. But you might want to have an integration where like maybe someone fills out a form or responds to an email and automatically gets enrolled into a course. That's different. That's where you either want to connect with like a REST API tool or a WP Fusion type tool or a WP Automator type of tool. But what I'm trying to get at with this particular bend in the conversation is it's WordPress, it's LifterLMS, and there are tons of options and flexibility to get this tool to do what you need it to do.
Absolutely. The API is it does require like PHP level knowledge, I would say, of the developer scale of like I'm totally new to logging into my computer to I've built and deployed custom applications. You do have to be maybe like 75% of the way there by understanding how PHP works to be able to read the REST API documentation. So it's a little bit of a techie advanced user thing, but you can always recruit that kind of help if there is some kind of a feature that you want from our LifterLMS experts page, which has a lot of great resources for including me and Kurt, who do those kind of jobs where we're helping customers take Lifter beyond what LifterLMS can usually do, or just consulting on projects. That's all kinds of things you can find on that experts page.
I find most of the jobs that I get off the experts page really is like business consulting. It's not, I've only had a few really intricate builds really come out of that resource for me personally. But we have other people that are listed on that, as a resource that are getting tons of like website builds, and they'll do the whole thing for you. Right. And so, for a lot of folks that watch this, they might be thinking, I got to run my whole company. I don't have time to build this thing. That's when you jump out to the experts link, find someone that meets your needs, matches your budget, and just make it happen. That's the easy button for sure.
Yeah. I think this is something I was talking about with a Power WordPress user in the car the other day, was that there's like three kind of metrics when it comes to any kind of business, whether it's freelancing, finding client work, finding people to help you with projects. There's three main metrics, and that is the price, the time, and the quality. You can really only get two of these three things. If you want like a budget project at a high quality, you're going to spend a lot of time to do it. You're probably going to be investing a lot of your own mental energy to figure it out over the course of a few years. If you want a high quality project done fast, it's probably going to blow the budget a bit out of what it might usually be. Because we want quality, we want it fast. If you want something fast that is cheap, you'll probably sacrifice some quality with that. But those are like three pillars I like to think about, and when I'm in conversations with clients, customers, anything, and that applies. It doesn't just apply to like hiring a freelancer to help you build something. It applies to literally like everything. It's like even like, how do I want this conversation to go with my family? Do I want it to be painless? Cost? Do I want it to be fast? Or wait, so we got fast, quality, time, quality, and money. So we've got painless with family, quality, and time. Do I, how long do I want this to take? So if I want a quality conversation to happen quickly, I'm going to have to broach some difficult subjects. If I want not having this drawn out in front of me makes my ADHD mind like lose. Like there are three things. If I want a quality relationship over a long period of time, it could be relatively painless to get it because we don't have to pay. Yeah. So those three pillars basically apply to everything. And I think that's often overlooked. Yeah, I think looking at the resources we have available is pretty important to figuring out what kind of project we're going to do. But we're coming up on the hour here. We've got 8 minutes left. So anyone watching in chat, let us know any questions you have about LifterLMS. If you're curious about where to get started, I'd recommend lifterlms.com/try. lifterlms.com/try. There's also like this 50% off sale. I could give you this coupon for I don't know what it is. It's here we go. Lifter LMS Lives 15% off, but on the Lifter website, 50% off is already on the website. So that's 50% off is better than 15% off. So I can't even give you a good discount on the live stream because it's already like a 3 times better discount on the website going on right now. So if you're considering buying the Lifter LMS Infinity Bundle or any of the packages, this is probably the best time it ever has been to do it because it's on that massive sale right now. ADHD headphone playlist. That's good. It's a Spotify play. Is that something I like listen to while I'm doing these calls?
Maybe you just put it on the background. It's like EDM music, but it goes from ear to ear and it forces you to center.
Oh, interesting.
I'll put it in Slack for you.
Yeah, I can't click this out of StreamYard, so if you Slack it to me.
I'll put it in Slack for you.
Awesome. Well, Kurt, is there anything you're excited about this week? Anything you're working on related to Lifter LMS that we want to share? Any insights with?
I'm going to the lake this weekend so my son can race mountain bikes.
Oh, that's awesome. And while you're doing that, your courses will be selling on your website because you already have your Stripe gateway set up. Dude,
it's there's so much going on. One thing that's really cool, you know, that project that you and I did together, converting someone from LearnDash to Lifter LMS?
Yeah.
Just got a video testimonial from them, a very nice one.
Awesome.
So that was super cool. That's a good example of some of the work that Manana Nomas has been doing lately is, you know, transferring people from one platform to another platform or from one host to another host. I'm in the middle right now of taking a client from a Sensei website to a Lifter LMS website. But they've got a lot of, like, their website had a lot of, it was kind of heavy. It just had a ton of junk on it, you know, to be honest with you. And so I said, look, dude, the best way to do this, instead of transferring the whole website over and then kind of like just deleting the Sensei, like all that crap stays in the database and all that stuff, right? Unless I'm going to scrub it all out. And so we decided to go the other route. We did a fresh install on a new server and then moved over their pages and their content from their pages and their post content and then added in Lifter LMS. And now we're adding in their course content. And he watches these live sometimes, so he might be in here. But we're almost to the part where we just give the sandbox to the customer and they're going to add in their own quizzes. And then we should be able to launch that website this weekend or maybe Monday or Tuesday, depending on how quickly they get their part done. But, you know, that's the thing where when I say it, it sounds easy, but you know this as well as I do, Will. You move something over and then you're like, why do the posts look weird? I got to look at that. Or what, you know, why does the menu look different? Or hey, where did all the featured images go? You're like, and then you're like, well, did I import all the images into the media bin? And there's just there's a lot of boxes to tick and a lot of things to make sure line up, especially when you're deleting a whole like dynamic function of a site and building it as something else.
Yeah, and I think that's a good point to emphasize is like that me and Kurt run into complicated situations all the time. Everyone who works in WordPress does, like developers. Sometimes I had this picture of a developer in my mind who's like, oh, they have the whole code reference memorized and they like, you can ask them about a feature and then they can just build it in their head. And it's like, that's not really how it works. A lot of times it's like,
that's not really how it works.
It's like, I might be able to do this. They sit down in front of a whiteboard, they draw it out. We build like a little bit of a test product and then figure out that there's this road bump. There's a security issue with this. There's like all these like roads. It's constantly getting hit in the head with like hail. It's like walking through a hailstorm. And I thought it would be kind of like an easy walk in the park. And so it never is like that. So you're probably experiencing something similar with building a WordPress website, entering a new interface, trying to integrate that interface with like a CRM tool to manage your email list. And it's complicated and confusing and there's error messages and stuff doesn't work. But that's kind of how it will always be, is just pushing through that hailstorm because just as you approach more complicated problems related to the business. But that's to be expected. I think like sometimes there's this perception of the industry that you're gonna get involved with this, and it's gonna feel like a uplifting, like a walk in the park it's going to lift up your soul every time you open WordPress. But usually it's going to be like you have 9 updates, you do the updates, there's an error, you need to restore to a backup. You've got a lot of
well, what you just said is an interesting thing, is like an interesting tidbit to kind of we bring it up before, we'll bring it up again. Simplicity. Like the more simple you can design your site, the more you can think of what tools do the most of what I need, and you keep it simple, and you use products that are on the repository, that are updated frequently, that have a high user count, that don't have giant changes in code every month. Like, those are things that you should pay attention to. So when you have more experience in WordPress, you start to get that whole what works. You get a small library of really good tools in your tool belt, and you get confidence in those tools, and then you know that you can move forward. I used to be a really good Elementor user, and I had a ton on Elementor. Will the same way. I know Will had a ton on Elementor, but then in the last 2 or 3 years, some of their updates have broken a fair amount of sites. And so now I'm like, okay, if full site editing is the way that the rest of the world's going, and full site editing themes are getting popular, and they're starting to catch up with some other things, if I can build it in full site editing and not put a page builder in the site, I'll do that, because I have a less chance of having to maintain that project down the road.
Absolutely. Well, we are coming up in the hour, I guess. Kurt, where can people find you on the internet if they want to connect?
Well, I'm the only Kurt Von Onen on LinkedIn. So if you want to contact me directly, that's a great way to reach me. You can just, connect with me, hit me up in the LinkedIn Messenger, and see what goes where. Otherwise, at LifterLMS. If you type help at LifterLMS, there's a good chance I'm going to see that message, or it'll be forwarded to me if you put my name in the message. And then Mañana No Mas. My personal company is Mañana No Mas. And if you go to mañananomas.com, that's me. And before I ask you the same question, I want to shout out to Alex. He wants to know if he's the only one watching this. And I can assure you, Alex, you are not. There is a ton of people, according to StreamYard, watching this, but a lot of people must be doing something else other than putting comments in. So shout out to you for jumping in there and saying that you're here. Will, how can we reach you, my man?
My name's Will Middleton. If you go to LinkedIn and look that up, you're going to find like 40, 50 people. You're not going to find me. So it was just Google Magic Will Middleton, and you'll find my YouTube website. You'll find everything there. But that's why I had to change my name. I'm not the only Kurt Von Onen on LinkedIn. I'm Will Middleton. There's a billion of them. So I had to put Magic in front of my name to make it work.
Magic Will Middleton. And it just kind of rolls off. It kind of just rolls off the tongue after a while, buddy.
It does.
All right. Well, with that, folks, I'm going to slap down our exit video, and we will see you next week.